Good morning, Year 3. Miss Joinson here, and today we are going to be reading Chapter 19 of Gangster Granny, a small explosive device. The next morning, as Mum and Dad went through song after song to select some music for their son's upcoming dance competition, Ben sneaked out of the house and cycled to the hospital. When he finally found Granny's ward, he saw that there was a bespectacled doctor perched on her bed. Nevertheless, he raced over excitedly to see the old lady, so he could share the plan with her. The doctor was holding Granny's hand and talking to her slowly and quietly. "Just give us a moment alone, please, Ben," said Granny. "The doctor and I are just talking about, lady things." Okay," said Ben. He sloped back to the swing doors and leafed through a sickly-looking copy of Take a Break. The doctor passed him and said, "I'm sorry," before leaving the ward. Sorry, thought Ben. Why is he sorry? And he walked tentatively over to his Granny's bed. Granny was dabbing at her eyes with a tissue, and when she saw Ben approach, she stopped and shoved it back up the sleeve of her nightdress. "Are you okay, Granny?" he asked softly. "Yes, I'm fine. I just have something in my eye." "Then why did the doctor say, 'I'm sorry,' to me?" Granny looked flustered for a moment. Well, I imagine he was sorry that he wasted your time in coming here. There is absolutely nothing wrong with me, as it turns out." "Really?" "Yes, the doctor gave me the test result. I'm as fit as a butcher's dog." Ben hadn't heard that expression before, but he imagined it must mean very, very fit. "That's brilliant news, Granny," exclaimed Ben. "Now I know you said no before." "Is this what I think it is, Ben?" asked Granny. Ben nodded. "I said no 100 times." "Yes, but—" "But what, young man?" "I found a weakness in the Tower of London, and I have spent all week working on a plan of how we can steal the jewels. I think we can really do it." To his surprise, Granny looked intrigued. "Pull the curtains and keep your voice down," hissed the old lady, flicking the switch on her hearing aid to full power. Ben quickly pulled the curtains around Granny's bed and then sat down next to her. "So, at the strike of midnight, we swim across the Thames in scuba diving gear and locate the ancient sewage pipe here," whispered Ben, showing her the detailed diagram in the back issue of Plumbing Weekly. "We have to swim up a sewage pipe? At my age?" said Granny. "Don't be daft, boy." "Shh! Keep your voice down," said Ben. "Sorry," whispered Granny. "And it's not daft, it's brilliant. The pipe is just wide enough. Look here." Granny lifted herself up from her pillows and moved closer to the page in Plumbing Weekly. She studied the diagram. It did indeed look wide enough. "Now, if we swim up the pipe, we can get inside the tower undetected," continued Ben. "Everywhere else around the perimeter of the building, there are armed guards and security cameras and laser sensors. Take any other route in and we wouldn't stand a chance." Yes. But then, how the blazes do we get into the jewel house where the jewels are kept?" she whispered. "The sewage pipe ends here at the privy." "I beg your pardon?" "The privy. It's an old word for toilet." "Oh, yes, so it is. From the privy it's a short run, a short walk across the courtyard to Jewel House. At night the door to the house is of course locked and double locked. Probably triple locked." Granny didn't seem that convinced. Well, Ben would just have to convince her. "The door is solid steel, so we'll drill out the locks to open it. But the crowns and the sceptres are all that gubbins must securely be kept behind bulletproof glass, Ben," said Granny. "Yes, but the glass isn't bomb-proof. We'll set off a small explosive device to shatter the glass." "An explosive device?" spluttered Granny. "Where on earth are you going to get that from?" "I swiped a few chemicals from science class," replied Ben with a smirk. I am pretty sure I can create an explosion big enough to get through that glass." "But the guards will hear the explosion, Ben." "No, no, no. I'm sorry, that's never going to work," exclaimed Granny as quietly as she could. "Well, I thought of that," said Ben, momentarily delighted with his own ingenuity. "You need to board a train to London earlier that day, posing as a sweet old lady." "I am a sweet old lady," protested Granny. "You know what I mean," continued Ben with a smile. "From the station you take the number 78 bus all the way to the Tower of London. Then you give the Beefeater guards chocolate cake with something in it to make them sleep." "Oh, I could use my special herbal sleeping tonic," said Granny. Yes, fantastic," said Ben. "So the guards eat the chocolate cake, and by night time they will be fast asleep." "Chocolate cake!" protested Granny. "Surely the guards would prefer some of my delicious homemade cabbage cake." Granny's recipe for cabbage cake. Take 6 large mouldy cabbages. Mash up the cabbages with your potato masher. Put the cabbage mush into a baking tray. Bake in the oven until your whole house smells of cabbage. Wait a month for the cake to go stale. Slice and serve. Sick bucket optional. Ben squirmed. He didn't want to upset Granny, but there was no way anyone would eat a piece of Granny's cabbage cake unless they were intimately related to her. And even then they would probably spit it out when she wasn't looking. "I think a chocolate cake from the supermarket would be better." "Well, you seem to have thought of everything. I'm very impressed, you know. The idea of using that old pipe is genius." Ben flushed with pride. "Thanks. But how did you know about it? They don't teach you that stuff at school, do they? About sewage pipes and that?" "No," said Ben. "It's just I've always loved plumbing. I remembered the old pipes being in my favourite magazine." He held up Plumbing Weekly. "It's my dream to be a plumber one day." He looked down, expecting Granny to tell him off or mock him. "Why are you looking at the ground?" asked Granny. Well, I know it's silly and boring to want to be a plumber. I know I should want to do something more interesting." Ben felt his face turn burning red. Granny put a hand on his chin and gently tilted his head up. "Nothing you did could ever be silly or boring, Ben," she said. "If you want to be a plumber and it's your dream, then no one can take that away from you. Do you understand? All you can do in this life is follow your dreams. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time." I guess. I should hope so. Honestly, you say that plumbing is boring, but here you are, planning to steal the crown jewels. For goodness sake, and it's all down to plumbing." Ben smiled. Maybe Granny was right. "But I have a question for you, Ben." "Yes." "How do we escape? A plan like this is no good if you are going to get caught red-handed, my lad." "I know that, Granny, so I thought we should go out the same way we came through the sewage pipe, and swim back across the Thames. It's only 50 metres wide, and I've got my 100-metre swimming badge. It will be a doddle." Granny bit her lip. She obviously wasn't sure that any of this would be a doddle, not least swimming across a fast-flowing river at night. Ben looked at her with hope in his eyes. "Well, Granny, are you in? Are you still a gangster?" She looked deep in thought for quite a while. "Please," pleaded Ben. "I've loved hearing all about your adventures, and I really want to go on a heist with you. And this would be the ultimate, stealing the crown jewels. You said yourself it was every great thief's dream. Well, Granny, are you in?" Granny looked at her grandson's glowing face. After a while she murmured, "Yes." Ben leapt from his chair and hugged her. "Brilliant!" Granny lifted her weak arms and embraced him. It was the first time in years she had really hugged him. "But I have one condition," said the old lady, with a deadly serious look in her eyes. "What?" whispered Ben. "We put them back the next night." Okay then, so that was the end of chapter 19 for you. Okay, So today you are going to look at different tenses, okay? So on your sheet you've got past tense, present tense and future tense. So you're going to be writing about your friends today and how you look after them. So we're going to take a little bit step away from the book and just focus on our skills today. Okay, so I want you to think about the things that you have done in the past, the things you still do all the time, and also the things you will do in the future. Okay, so you'll be writing 3 different paragraphs today, one in the past, one in the present, and one in the future. Okay, so what does tense mean? So when we talk about tense in writing, we mean the words we choose to show when something is happening. Okay, so we choose the verbs to show if something happened in the past, if it is happening right now, or if it will happen in the future. Okay, so we've got past tense. So past tense tells us things that have already happened. So things that have already happened in the past. Okay, so there's an extract here from the book, and we're going to highlight some of the words that are in the past tense. So Granny lifted herself up from her pillows and moved closer to the page in Plumbing Weekly. She studied the diagram. Okay, so lifted, because that's something that's done in the past. Okay, she lifted herself up from her pillows and moved closer to the page in Plumbing Weekly. She studied the diagram. Okay, so what do we notice about these words in past tense? Well, most of these words in past tense end in ed. Okay, so that could be a bit of a clue for you when you are writing your paragraphs. Okay, they end in ed, the past tense verbs do. Okay, let's have a look at present tense then. So, present tense tells us things that are happening right now. Okay, so things that are happening in the present. Okay, so here is an extract from the book. We're going to see what parts of the text are present tense. I love hearing about all your adventures, and I really want to go on a heist with you. You said yourself it is every great thief's dream. Okay, so it's happening at the moment, so I love hearing all about your adventures, and I really want to go on a heist with you. So want to go on a heist with you. You said yourself it is every great thief's dream. Okay, so here we've got words that end in ing, and we've also got you want to do something. Okay, you're not saying, oh, I have already done it, or I am going to do it. Okay, it's what you're wanting to do right now in the present tense. Okay, so we've got past, present, and then we're going to move on to future. So future tense tells us things that will or might happen in the future. Future tense verbs are usually written with will or would. So again, we've got an extract from the text here. We're going to highlight our future tense verbs. So we will take the number 78 bus all the way to the Tower of London. Then you will give the guards chocolate cake. Okay, so here we're looking at words that end, usually written with will or would before them. Okay, so when I am older, I would like to become a teacher. Or tomorrow, I will wash my hair. Okay, so you're saying things that will happen in the future. Okay, then, so today, then, you're going to write about your friends and how you look after them. Okay, so we're going to do one together first to start off, and then you're going to have a go at the other 2 on your own independently. Okay, so things I have done for my friends in the past. So if we look at past tense, we're looking at words that end in ed, our verbs that end in ed. Okay then, so when my friend was sad, I told them a funny joke. This made them happy because they smiled and laughed out loud. I was nice to my friend when I played a fun game together. fun game with them to cheer them up. Okay, so only a very short paragraph, not a lot, but the main reason for this task is to make sure that you've got your past tense verbs in for this section. Okay, so when my friend was sad, I told them. So told would be a past tense verb because it's already happened. Okay, you're not currently telling them, or you will not tell them. You have told them, so it's in the past. Okay, this made them happy because they smiled and laughed out loud. I was nice to my friend when I played a fun game with them to cheer them up. Okay, so you've got to write a short paragraph, a couple of sentences about things that you have done for your friends in the past. Okay, so it could be if your friend was sad, it could be if they didn't have anybody to play with. It could be because you are best friends and you all are always with each other. Okay, and I know quite a lot of you are missing your friends at this time. So please make sure that this is a nice, happy memory that you can write down and always look back on. Okay, so once you've done that, you've wrote about your things that you have done for your friends in the past, things that you still do for your friends. And as I've just said, I know you probably haven't seen your friends for a very, very long time, but try to think about things that you still do for your friends when you are back at school or when you were at school. Okay, and then lastly, things that you will do for you in the future for your friends. Okay, so what will you do to make sure that they are happy and they enjoy being your friend? Making sure we use the past tense, the present tense, and the future tense. Okay, so remember, if you've got any questions or you need any help or support, email myself or Mr. Grocott, and we are always here to help you. Have a brilliant day, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.